Welcome everybody. I don't know why I'm so close to the camera. It looks very strange. Hope you're all well. Welcome to Your Baby Club. I always want to say Insta Live, but we're on Facebook, aren't we? I've been putting Christmas things up today, which I always shout at people who put Christmas things up this early, because I just think it's, it's not the right thing, is it? Bloody November still. But I was bored and thought I would do. So please feel free to give me some questions. What's my news? Have I got any news? Have I got any news? I'm getting better, for anybody who wanted to know, because I've had the COVID. I keep saying that. Someone said to me the other day, it really annoys me when people call it the COVID. And ever since then, I can't stop calling it the COVID. I've had the COVID. It was Kirsty, if you're watching. All right, Kirsty, I've still got the COVID. No, the COVID's gone. Still quite short of breath, but the sore throat has gone. Thank God, because I don't think I could have stood listening to myself whinge any longer about the sore throat. So that's gone, but the breathing is still a bit dodgy. What else has plagued me this week? Oh, I've been plagued with having to choose the colour of paint, which is my least favourite pastime. Honestly, I can't bear doing it. So yes, that's been about it for me this week. Not done anything else. Been put in tier 2. Anybody here in tier 3? Anybody completely locked up? You need to send me some questions. I'm just going to have a look at my questions that I got sent via something else or other. Let's have a look where I've got some questions so that I can answer questions. Right, here we go. Loads of them. So I shall start with some questions. I'm overdue and had a sweep, but it doesn't look hopeful. Is there anything I can do that might help? Same questions every week, isn't it? What you can do to help, you could do some colostrum harvesting. So that basically is the same as doing nipple stimulation. So you could it's like 2 birds with 1 stone rather than just messing around. So do some colostrum harvesting, because nipple stimulation is thought to help move things along. So you could do that. Is 11 weeks sleep regression a thing? Gone from a 5-hour block to waking every 2 hours. So sleep's not my area of expertise, unless it's doing it, because I'm very good at that. But I think I think most things are what you would call normal with a baby, because they're growing and they're changing and that sort of thing. Our lovely Carla, I paused because there's so many different people. She does a sleep workshop with Let's Talk Birth and Baby, which is really good. And she does a newborn one and a 4-month to 12-month newborn sleep. So you might want to hook onto that. So Let's Talk Birth and Baby, you can sign up. So I'm 15 weeks pregnant with my first baby and have ongoing headache for 3 days. It won't go, and I'm worried about taking paracetamol. What should I do? First off, you should take paracetamol. Absolutely take 2 paracetamol. It won't do your baby any harm. And in actual fact, you suffering with a headache for 3 days is more harmful, because you're probably going to get dehydrated, you're going to get tired, you're going to get crabby, you're going to upset your partner. There's lots of things going on there. Definitely take a couple of paracetamol. Do that and see how you go. Make sure you are hydrated. If it's not going after you've taken a couple of paracetamol, maybe touch base with the GP, not necessarily your midwife, but your GP. Your midwife maybe, but GPs be just as good. They'll be able to take your blood pressure and that sort of thing. Hi, Stacey. Hope you're well. But yeah, definitely always take paracetamol if you've got a headache. It's not good for you to suffer with a paracetamol, so don't worry about it. It's perfectly safe. I had my baby 3 weeks ago. Congratulations. He was born at 41 weeks and has extremely dry skin, which flakes. Everyone keeps saying it's a newborn thing, but I'm getting worried he's developing a skin issue. It doesn't seem to bother him, but I've tried a few creams and nothing seems to work. He's shedding skin all over. Any advice on products on what to do? Use olive oil. Just a little bit of olive oil, rub it on your hands and rub it all over the dry patches. It isn't anything to worry about unless you think it's becoming infected. And quite often when babies are overdue, they are a little bit drier and they just benefit from a bit of oil on them. But I really wouldn't worry about it. It is quite normal. Oh, gosh, honestly, my breath is. What's the earliest you can be induced, have a C-section due to baby not growing? So I think I answered this the other day, actually. I think it more comes down to you as an individual and your baby and what they're doing and how your baby is, how your placenta is functioning. So obviously they're not going to rush to get a baby out if you're only 25 weeks, but there will come a tipping point in terms of balance where the benefits to the baby are outweighed against the fact that they're not growing sufficiently. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is there comes a point where it's like, actually, this baby will thrive better out than it is doing in. And it's that balancing act. So I think they will just be assessing that basically. Hi, Paige. Hello, I'm 23 weeks pregnant and I've only felt baby move a couple of times. My notes say my placenta is fundal. I'm not sure what that means or when I should start being concerned about movements. This is my third baby. Congratulations. So fundal, the top of your bump is your fundus. So it basically obviously means that it's anterior high, probably. Yeah, it's probably anterior high. It could be posterior high, but it's at the top. So in terms of 23 weeks, I would say most time people do tend to necessarily do sometimes feel their baby sooner, but there could be, so you know, it could be that your baby's just not, you've just not felt it yet. What I would say is, if by the time you get to 24 weeks you're not feeling this baby, then I would go back to the midwife and say, look, I'm not reassured by my movements. I'm not getting any movements. Can we have a scan, please? And push back at them to check you out. But 23 weeks, I will still be saying to people, please don't worry. It may still be another week or so before you start to feel those definite movements. But I think it comes back down to, Paige, if you really don't feel right, phone your hospital unit and say, I'm not feeling this baby move. I'm 23 weeks pregnant and I'm getting myself in a tiz, and they will probably bring you in. I'm currently pregnant with baby number 5 and have been diagnosed with gestational diabetes. I'm currently on tablets and insulin. Does this mean I'll be induced early, or will they allow labour to start naturally? There is a high probability it will be advised. Paige Jones, I meant 23 pregnant. Oh no, I worked out what you meant, Paige. There is a high probability that this lady will be given the advice to be induced, but sometimes it just depends on what the baby's doing. In terms of if the baby, the growth is normal and the sugars are controlled and all that sort of stuff, they may just let you continue, but they'll want to be looking at those sugars and what the baby's doing. So it's a case of watch and wait. But I would say the likelihood is with insulin controlled diabetes that the recommendation would be that you were induced. I'm 25 weeks pregnant with my second and baby seems to be laying very low and I've had a lot of pressure down below. Is this normal at this stage? Should he have moved up a bit by now? I don't think it's abnormal. I think each pregnancy is very, very different. And I think the best way to sort of think about these things is answering those questions that I always come back to. Have you got any loss from down below? So are you leaking any fluid or anything like that? So if the answer to that is no, that's good. Are you starting to feel baby's movements? 25 weeks, you should be starting to feel those movements. So if you're happy with that, that's good. And do you feel well? If you're answering all three to those questions, there's not really anything else that we're going to do or can do in actual fact. So it just may be that this baby's lying in a different position than your previous pregnancy, so it feels a bit abnormal to you. But I would say just keep on those three questions and you're pretty much, you know, safe to carry on. If any of those things change, then obviously go and get checked out. What other questions have I got here? What's the, I have a pain in the right side of my groin area. Is this normal in pregnancy? I'm 31 weeks. Again, go back to those last three questions. Do I feel okay? Is the baby moving and I've got any fluid loss from down below? And assuming that all those are checking in the right answer, then those aches and pains are probably quite normal. But again, there's nothing wrong with asking to be checked out thoroughly, you know, saying I just want to touch base with my midwife or with the unit because I don't feel that things are right. Sometimes we just get a niggling feeling, and if it's worrying you, it's just worth getting it checked out, basically. Right, anybody else got any other questions? This is going to be a short one, if not. Some of you may be interested to know, if you follow both the Facebook lives and the Instagram lives, that we were talking today and saying that we should maybe jazz things up a bit and try and have a guest speaker come, and I don't know whether you can do it on Facebook, so we're going to do it with the Instagram lives. So we're going to start getting some guest people to come in and talk about various topics. So if there's any topics that you are particularly interested in, then please do contact me at The Honest Midwife, or through Your Baby Club, or Let's Talk Birth and Baby, or you know, you can always get hold of me. And let me know, because we will try and get these topics to you if it's something that you are really interested in. So yeah, so it may do, not that I'm not going to answer questions, so you'll still be able to ask me any questions that you want to do, just that it be that it may change slightly and just shake it up a little bit. And I think that's about it. So let's just see if anybody else has asked me any other questions. Oh, we've got loads of questions here. Right, I've had 3 sections and would love to have a 4th and final baby, but don't know if this is safe. I think you would be, I think there's 2 ways of looking at this. If you sort of accidentally fell pregnant, nobody's going to tell you to do anything about that pregnancy. But I think what I would do is contact the hospital that you would go with and ask if you can arrange a consultant appointment, to ask them to look at what it said in the notes, because there will be notes that were made by the doctor who did your cesarean section that will probably indicate whether it was a difficult cesarean, whether they had any trouble, whether there was excessive scar tissue, those sort of things. You may be able to get that information. So it could be that they're able to look at your notes and say, do you know what, they were 3 straightforward cesarean sections. If you really want to have another one, off your trot. But it could be that they said, you know what, the notes on here say that this was a tricky cesarean and we would really advise you don't. So I would go back to the hospital and try and get some more specific information about your personal circumstances. Come and let us know how you get on. I'm 19 weeks pregnant tomorrow with my first baby and just wondered when I should start to feel movements. Not sure if I felt it or not. So I would say that not sure if I felt it or not is probably you will have felt a flutter and it's like, oh, was it, wasn't it? At 19 weeks, I would say you're getting to that point where anytime now, but it could be another 2-3 weeks. Even people who say I'm 22 weeks, 23 weeks, I'm still not hugely worried. I think once we start getting past that, we should be starting to feel movements. But for some of us that are a bit bigger, we don't necessarily feel them as soon as you skinny mins out there. So everybody is very different. But at 19 weeks, I certainly wouldn't be worried. So just see how you get on. But I would have thought anytime soon. These are the live videos I've been telling you about. See, there you go. Louisa is spreading the world. Hello, Gemma Stratford, if you've joined us. Any tips for a colic baby? We've had hours where she cries for hours. Oh, Samantha, I feel your pain. It's not pleasant. What I would say is we've got a lady called Rebecca. Forget everybody's names. And Becky does colic workshops. So she does a free live every week, and I think she's got one tomorrow. I think Laura is watching. So Laura, can you confirm, is it 12 o'clock tomorrow for the Insta Live with Becky's colic? So it's called Colic SOS. But she also does an extensive workshop through Let's Talk Birth and Baby, where she answers loads of questions. She goes into the physiology of what colic. So colic is basically a term. Colic is a phrase used for a baby that cries excessively but is otherwise well. It's not a cause, it's not a condition, it's an umbrella term. Baby crying, we don't know what's up with it, but like Becky will tell you, is there is often a cause for that crying. There is a reason why your baby is displaying these symptoms, and there's lots of things that you can look out for that will be able to help you. Now, it's not my area, but Becky is very good and very, very knowledgeable about gut health and all that sort of stuff. So I would definitely hook up on her live and then sign up to one of her workshops, which are a bit more extensive. I think they're a good hour and a half, so it's a long session. Subject afterbirth, not much is really talked about for the afterbirth. That's a good one, Louise. We'll have a look and see what we can do about that. How long do you feed baby? I was told to leave 3 hours and let her cry it out and use a dummy. Oh, I don't really, I think once a month, I'm not sure how old your baby is. So if you could just let me know how old your baby is. But generally, I'm not a big fan of letting babies cry it out, depending on how old they are. I mean, obviously if they're 6 months and being a bit naughty, well, not that you can be naughty at 6 months, but you know, if it's a habit. But I think newborn babies up to 4 months of age, I think if they're awake and crying, there's a reason that they're awake and crying. My general rule of thumb with a baby is, especially if they're breastfed, if you're getting 2 hours between a feed, and this is up to about 3 months, if you're getting 2 hours between a feed, well, I would take that. It could be worse. 3 is great. Don't let them go longer than 4. That's my general rule of thumb. Now, everybody is different, and so, you know, it's not an exact, oh, you shouldn't do that, but that, I think it's an easy one to go by. But yeah, I'm not so keen on the crying it out bit. I don't have any objection to using dummies though. Colic drops, I use them with my little girl, get them from Boots and just put them in her milk, hope it helps. There you go, so that may well help. Summer, I'm 25 weeks, everything is fine with it's my first baby, and when I went to my 20-week scan, the lady said my placenta is on the front and that will make any difficulties when I give birth. Will that make, no, it shouldn't make any difference, my lovely. You should be absolutely fine. Becky's live, so the colic lady is live tomorrow on Facebook at 12:30. And she's really, really knowledgeable. I did listen to her workshop the other day and learnt loads, which I wished I'd known. So yeah, I think going back to Samantha, I think it's you with the colicky baby. The one thing that I can say is, don't take it personally. It's not that you are doing anything wrong. It's not that there's anything particularly wrong with your baby. One of the things I do really feel with babies is we do so much with them, and I always think it tends to start at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, doesn't it, when we're all getting a bit tired. But I sometimes think with babies, it's that it's their equivalent of, I'm not hungry, I can't be bothered to eat, I'm so tired, I just am past it. And I think they just get a little bit overstimulated. So I think sometimes if like just lower the lighting, lower any stimulation, maybe turn the TV off, or just put some gentle white noise on, or anything you used to listen to when you were pregnant. If you did any hypnobirthing scripts, putting them on, trying to sort of lower your heart rate and bring your adrenaline levels down may well help you a little bit with your baby. I'm 32 weeks running, 32-week running, I don't know what that means, but suddenly I've got a lot of cough, nose blocked, what can I do, please tell me. I don't know what running is. So there's not a huge amount of remedies that you can do for a cold, because you're not allowed the over-the-counter stuff, but you maybe want to do some steam, something like that. You might want to consider having a COVID test if you're feeling a bit ropey. Yeah, I'm assuming you've got cold symptoms, but there isn't much you can take, unfortunately. Paracetamol is about the top and bottom of it, I'm afraid. Right. Well, I thought it was going to be quite a short live, but you have kept me reasonably busy. We've been on for nearly 20 minutes. So I'm going to go, because I've run out of questions, and otherwise I'll just babble on about nothing or other. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll show you. Do you like my blanket? I made this. I made that when I had the COVID. That was my COVID project, a little bobbly blanket. So anyway, there you go. Right, I hope you are all well and are all having a nice week and are starting to get into the Christmas spirit. Come on, guys, we're going to have to be just, you know, drag that Christmas out of us. And I will see you on Tuesday, unless you are booked into one of my free classes. I've got first aid tonight at 6:30 if anybody wants to do that. And for anybody who hasn't already done the free antenatal class, there is still some places on Saturday morning's class, so hook into that. You're all ace, as always.